This is between JorDan and dogao, who's got a new club by the looks of it, or who's joined the new club. Gonna be switching colors once again. Red for JorDan, blue for dogao. Game number 1 is here. It's gonna be Berbers versus Franks actually, so I'm not really sure why we had a Ratha for the dogao civilization, but yeah, it's going to be Franks, which makes a lot more sense on this map. As an opening, JorDan's gonna start going for scouts right away. He's got to stable up. Meanwhile, dogao, he's got to stable up as well, and both players will go for the exact same thing. We talked about JorDan civilizations before, and besides Berber, he could have gone for Bulgarians, for instance, which would have allowed him to get some good map control if he put himself in a good spot in the castle age by going for a cheap Krepos forward. Of course, with Franks, he's also going to have access to cheap castles, which are not much pricier than Krepos actually, so it's also a... Actually, what I'm talking about, that is the dogao civilization. JorDan will have to pay full price for a castle if he wants to go for map control over here, but alternatively, if he does not have the ability to go into fortifications easily, he can potentially just go for military production and just try to get a hold of the center by brute force. Taking a look at the north, JorDan's gotten the first dock up, and dogao instead, he's got the first dock up on the right hand side towards the south pond. See the fishing ships coming out from JorDan rather. dogao not so much just yet. JorDan will end up losing one of the scouts over there. dogao does have extra HP with the scouts, gotta keep that in mind as well, but JorDan's spearman over here will give him the upper hand, so dogao does not want to take an engagement, at the very least not until he can bring his own spearmen into the mix, and now that he's got them, he's gonna switch to aggression once again. He's gonna turn around and try to get some damage done. There we are, going over the right hand side. dogao's just trying to capitalize on the hill. And the first fishing ship came out for dogao just a few seconds ago. JorDan's got 2 fishing ships out already, so his economy is gonna be just a little bit stronger. You can see that he's got only 1 extra worker. Of course, he's spending quite some villager time though, trying to get the walls up over here in the first place. And then on the left hand side, he's got the walls coming in as well. He's done a good job, but it's not going to be fast enough to prevent the scouts from coming in as dogao's coming over. JorDan's bringing the spearmen over, and the scouts, in addition to that, will be enough to push dogao away. Or at the very least, it's going to make it extremely difficult for the bull player to get any damage done here. Pretty good unit control. Overall though, the game's been pretty uneventful. dogao's the only player who's managed to get some units down. But it's not been enough to grant a lead just yet. 5 extra military units? Yeah. But economy is looking better for JorDan. Well, it's more balanced, not necessarily better. As a matter of fact, the dogao had a market, and he's going for one pretty heavily with 4 villages over here. He's gonna be on his way to the castle age very soon. Meanwhile, JorDan on the other hand, well, he's got the resources to go up to the castle age himself, and notice that JorDan has the market over here, but he did not utilize it quite as heavily, I think. Yeah, at the very least compared to dogao. Well, players on their way up though, at about the same time. With Franks, we're gonna get knights no matter what. It's the only thing that makes sense for him to go for. Unless he is thinking of adding some pikemen into the mix, which is going to come in quite clutch against the Berbers. Now, Berbers, they get a 15% discount on stable units starting in the castle, so that's going to allow him to go for camels as well tonight for 15% cheaper, and that's going to make it very difficult for dogao to get anything done. So yeah, actually, you know what, dogao is just skipping the knights and going full on spearmen at this point in time. That's gonna allow him to counter whatever it is that JorDan goes for in the castle age, except for camel archers, of course. And that's when the rock paper scissors dynamic kind of begins taking place, right? After JorDan is able to get a castle up, and he's able to start going for camel archers. That's gonna make it very difficult for dogao to make the pure pikeman play work. And of course, dogao can go for cavalry, but then JorDan can go for cavalry. And it's going to be just a circle like that of countering each other's potential choices. There's a second stable coming in for dogao, so he will be in good shape to start going for knights if he chooses to do so in the castle age. But of course, the pikemen part of his army is going to be quite substantial as he's going for the 11th pikeman right now. Meanwhile, Jordan's got 3 spearmen, 4 scouts, 1 fire galley, and as he gets to the castle age, he's gonna start going for camel archers as soon as he's able to get the castle out. Now, because Jordan realized about the dog coming out very early on, he went for 1 fire galley over here. He's got another one on the way, and he will be ahead in terms of military, in terms of navy, up in the north and then down the south. Gas completely uncontested, so he's got that going for him. Gas is coming up for Jordan though. Would probably have liked it a little bit further forward, mostly so that he could protect the goal a little bit more effectively over here, but that's still good. If he gets some camel archers, might be able to get some better map presence without relying on the fortification locations, of course. War Galley upgrades on the way for Jordan. Meanwhile, dogao's been going for the War Galley upgrade since a little bit earlier, so he's going to have fire ships over here versus fire galleys from Jordan. And Jordan's about 10 seconds away from the War Galley upgrade, and he gets there. If the Gao had realized about this and he had unleashed the fire galleys out earlier, he would have been able to clean up the units, but now Jordan's got the same units himself. And it seems like Jordan's unit control over here is a little bit better as he does react to the units coming out from the Gao a little bit better, a little bit earlier, and he does end up getting a better trade over there. He will end up cleaning this up. Meanwhile, the Gao was going for a fishing ship! He'll lose his control or his presence up in the North Pond. He's gotta cancel this. He did, and he's going for a fishing ship, for a fire ship right now. There we go. Meanwhile, Jordan, he already has another fire ship on the way. Beautiful. And there we go. The camel archers are starting to pour out. Bullsaw is here from the Gao. And he's got on the TC at the center as well. That is the second TC for him. Jordan's on 2 TCs himself as well. But he's not been going quite as heavily onto fishing ships compared to the Gaos. No wonder that the Gaos managed to get a little bit of a worker lead currently. Jordan instead is going to realize about the villagers trying to get the TC up over here. He's not really paying attention to the units, and now he is, but the knights will end up pushing him away from the Gao. Overall, we were talking about this before. Camel archers will take care of pikemen without too many issues. And the Gao's gonna need something else, namely knights are gonna be a good counter. But because Jordan gets a 15% discount on stable unit production in the castle age, he can potentially go for very cheap camels and counter the knights over here pretty easily. So it's going to be a matter of unit control and army composition for the players over here, as both are going to have tools to fight against each other's potential counters. I think I'm probably still liking Jordan's civilization over here better though, simply for the potential for damage that he's got with his army composition compared to the Gao. Like the Gao is, if he's going for pikemen and cavalry, it's not going to be quite as strong as camels and camel archers. Or potentially even knights and camel archers, to be fair. Especially given the fact that Jordan's civilization is going to have them for cheaper. There's a pause there, though. And the pause was issued by dogao. I am not too sure what the reason for the pause is, but I cannot imagine it taking particularly long, so we're most likely going to keep on going. It's probably just a hotkey issue, I guess. So far though, he's gotten JorDan actually has gotten a pretty good game. He's taken the pikemen down over here. It's not really been taking too many losses, just the 2 scouts, but you take a look at the amount of bodies over here from the bull player, and they're a lot, quite a lot. All right, it seems like it's going to take a little bit longer. Okay. Let's take a look. So far, KD certainly favoring Jordan quite a bit. How many pikemen can we spot over here? Well, not too many by the looks of it. Oh, oops, sorry about that. I'm just trying to see what it is that's going on right now. Let me... Yes. Oh, never mind. There we go. Yeah, it was probably just some technical issues. Regardless though, Chain Barded Armor is on the way for dogao. He's got a Siege Workshop coming up as well. There you are. Very good unit control overall for JorDan. Although the dogao's knight count over here is starting to get a little bit too high. JorDan's certainly gonna want to consider adding a few camels or a few knights into the mix. If he adds a few knights himself, that's going to be a strong enough meat shield against other knights, and of course the camel archers from behind will be shredding. So definitely we need something else from JorDan over here, not just the camel archers. To be fair though, he does end up getting full north control, adds a few extra fishing ships into the mix, and dogao is going to retain south control over here, so it's going to be kind of even in terms of water control from both players. 3 TCs for each player as well. Pretty similar worker counts, just a little bit higher for dogao, about 5 extra workers. At this point in time, is not a huge lead if you take a look at the villager distribution over there. Conversion on the way from dogao. Good job. Might be able to get the conversions. He does get one, he gets 2! And all of a sudden, now JorDan's behind with only 1 fire ship. He's going for 1 more. But dogao's already getting so much damage down over here with the fishing ships going down. JorDan's villager lead. Actually, what am I talking about? Dogao's villager lead extends as JorDan's worker count shrinks a little bit over here. You know, this gotta be kind of a tough pill to swallow for JorDan. The guy's just been practicing like madman for the last 2 weeks, and they've been struggling. Like, that's already out, and dogao on the other hand is doing really well against JorDan over here. Might end up knocking JorDan out, you know. There's a castle on the way for JorDan. They're going to have Tato and the Viper left. Representing GL, of course. Very, very good unit control over here. JorDan's just trying to force a castle up, but it's not going to be enough at the very least. Oh, it is going to be enough. Just barely. He had only 1 villager left over there. But once again, the castle over here comes up at the cost of several villagers from JorDan. So it's not free map control at all. Here we are. Nice. Beautiful. In the end, it seems like JorDan's going to keep control of the North Pond. Probably not going to be worth going into extra fishing ships, given just how much damage he's taken over there, and the fact that he's not really able to protect it too well. So we're probably not going to see any extra economy coming up on water from JorDan at all. But he did manage to get control over here with a second castle forward at the center. Now he'll be able to take dogao's TC down. And dogao's collecting stone quite heavily now. He's got 6 stone miners, so he'll be able to go for castles himself very soon. With Franks, that's going to be even more so the case. 1 village down though on the back of JorDan's base. That's 4 knights coming over from dogao, going straight into the wall line to get more villages down. And he's getting a few. Not too many though, only about 2 additional villagers over here. Yeah, now the knights are going to get cleaned up. Good raid over there though still. Keeps JorDan's villager count much lower. Here comes the counter raid from JorDan. Beautiful, the Gauss Knights once again going forth. This is the second wave he strikes with already. There's only 3 camels over there, 3 camel archers from JorDan, 1 camel. His reaction is good, but it's not going to be strong enough as Gao not only has a next wave, a new wave of knights pushing against JorDan over here, but also manages to get enough resources through some very liberal market use over there in order to go up to the Imperial Age. So the Gao is up to the Imperial Age first. He's idling a lot of JorDan's economy. He's getting a bunch of villages down over here with the knights as well, and even though he's probably going to end up getting cleaned up, most likely, he's already managed to do enough damage over here to grant a substantial lead. He's got a castle already on the way, the first one coming up. Cheaper for Franks as well, so it's really good in JorDan. He's building a substantial lead for himself, even if he's behind the military count. Once he gets to the Imperial Age, the units are going to be so much stronger compared to what JorDan can get. Pretty good unit control and army composition from the Gao as well, adding a few Scorpions into the mix. Here we go. Beautiful. JorDan's counter push is coming in now. Very good amount of camel archers over here. JorDan's going up to the Imperial Age himself as well. He's got a force to be reckoned with, but he's gotta make sure that he does not lose the units before he gets to the next stage. Just now, the Gao's going for Cavalier, he's going for Plate Bard and Armor. JorDan was trying to find these knights before the upgrades hit, try and shred them down, try and trim the army from the Gao, but he cannot really do it. And now, JorDan's gotta be careful. We are getting closer and closer to the upgrades from the Gao. Here we go. A little bit of a choke point over here from JorDan to work with. But he needs to bail from this position right now. Display Bard and Armor is going to be here from the Gao very soon, and he was not there. He still manages to push JorDan away, which is saying something given that JorDan was the one kind of looking for trouble. The guy, even with Chain, Bard and Armor alone, doesn't end up pushing. JorDan's units away, and now JorDan's getting to the Imperial Age finally. He'll be able to go for elite camel archers. He's got a lot of camels coming out right now. Chain, Bard and Armor as well. So very soon we'll see heavy camels. We'll see elite camel archers. There's right now Bracer coming in first. Of course, we're gonna see chemistry as well. But the upgrades are coming in. There we go. Heavy Camel's coming up first. He's been saving the units though. He's just been keeping these units on the back, but now he's bringing them forward. Does not really have the numbers to engage the Cavalier right now, nor the upgrades. But nonetheless, the Gao's being careful over here. He's bailing with a Cavalier, as he manages to take down a castle down from JorDan. JorDan's gonna be left on only 1 castle, so you know, Camel Archer production is not going to be particularly strong. Plus Fernand's coming up as well from the Gao. He didn't have it. Now he does. So these Cavalier are much deadlier right now compared to what they were like before. And JorDan's unit control is not the best over here. You cannot take the trebuchet. I think that must have been a misclick. There's no way he's trying to take the trebuchet down with camel archers over here without the upgrades. He's simply not gonna manage to do much of anything. Now the Gao's got halberdier into the mix as well. That's gonna make it significantly harder for JorDan to make use of the camels over here freely. But once again, camels and camel archers are a very strong army composition. The thing is, JorDan's unit control's gotta be on point. And it seems like he's gonna run out of camel archers very soon by the halberdier, by the cavalier. He loses the castle over here, and the big engagement does end up going in favor of JorDan for the time being, but the Gao still head to head to JorDan in terms of military count. Keeps on bringing extra units as well. Fantastic. There we go. The Gao. He's moving forward now. His production is so big though. He's producing from 8 military buildings currently. 4 stables, 4 barracks. He's got conscription that just finished researching as well. Yeah, and even the castle up in the north. Some petards on the way from the Gao. It's going to take JorDan's CC down over there without too many issues pretty soon. JorDan's kind of crumbling right now. An 15 military units compared to 60. We have 4 times the military count for the Gao compared to JorDan's. Here we go. Paladin upgrades coming up now for the Gao as well. He's got Paladin on the way on 200 population. JorDan on the other hand, he's just struggling big time. A lot of his economy silent as well. He's not realized about the gold miners over here on the back. And the gold mines on the left hand side, they are just not very efficient. Take a look. JorDan simply cannot get the resources over here fast enough. He does not have the means. There is not enough surface area over there. He was trying to make a play for the right hand side gold, but he's getting pushed away from here too. And he cannot keep on collecting resources. He cannot keep on training units. He calls a GG as the Gao dominates game number 1. It's going to give the Brazilian a 1-0 lead over JorDan. And the GL player will have to clutch it up in the next few games in order to come back and potentially make it into the quarterfinals. Let's go through the achievements as usual. We're going to play the commercial in between or during the achievements so that we can just go back and take a look at the main feed afterwards. So what do we get over here? For military, we have a 1-to-1 KD ratio. In the end, I would say the value overall was kind of the same for both players as they were both trading for similar cost type of units with camel archers and camels against cavalier, right? The one thing that the Gao did have that was very cost effective for him was a halberdier, of course. Overall, we see for economy a stronger economy for the Gao as well, collecting about 6,000 extra resources. So a lot of extra resources that allowed him to go for a lot of extra military, of course, so no wonder. Even the KD was somewhat similar for both players. Towards the end of the game, the military count was so much higher for the Gao at 66 versus 22, 3 times the military count. Society, on the other hand, we see also a better stat over here for the Gao, who ended up losing 21 villagers compared to JorDan, who ended up losing about 56 villagers, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go back and take a look at the main feed. There we go. So JorDan with Bulgarians, the Gao with Dravidians. We are completely caught up right now as well. And for the opening, there is double archer ranges coming up from the Gao over here. Once again, the Dravidians coming in clutch with the extra wood. While JorDan, on the other hand, well, he's got two barracks! He's going for the Man-at-Arms play, but he's 2 barracks? He's producing more. We have seen in the past 1 barrack, 3 Minotaurs, but double barracks, full production over here. This is really interesting. And well, dogao, he had gods. I'm kind of wondering if dogao was expecting, if JorDan was expecting, you know, dogao to be going for gods over here, but that wouldn't really make too much sense because he doesn't really have the means to fight them off. The faster attacking, or they're actually the faster producing barracks from gods, plus the cheaper infantry units. Seems like it would be a risky play, but yeah, you know what? JorDan is kind of committed to it. He's gone for 7 Minotaurs total. He ended up losing 1 over here, and he's got 6 still. He's got the next Minotaurs queued up as well, and now he's roaming around trying to find exposed economy to get some good damage done. And he might be able to get a villager over here, but he would sacrifice one of his units for sure. So he's going for the build though. He's gonna try to body block her with a scout. He might be able to do it. And this is not the only one though. This is not the only aggression. We also have Minotaurs down the south pushing the dogao, and it seems like the dogao might probably end up losing a villager over there. Over here he cannot really take the woman because of the TC, and it doesn't seem like he can take the man over here because of the TC either. So he's getting a little bit of damage down in terms of idle villager time from the dogao. But yeah, the full Minotaurs opening over here, very special thing from JorDan for sure. Can he get the villager though? That's the question. Doesn't seem like he can too much. Yeah, good unit control over here. Fantastic quick walls from the dogao. The Minotaurs left on 2 HP. Meanwhile, the dogao is coming forward with archers. Not much that JorDan can do about that with the Minotaurs he's got to work with anyway. Unless he was able to start going for skirmishes or something, but he's got double stables instead, so it's gonna be scouts in Minotaurs. This is very interesting because the scouts are going to take care of archers when they are in high enough numbers, and then the Minotaurs are going to take care of basically everything else, including skirmishers, of course, and honestly even the scouts can take care of skirmishers, but the Minotaurs will take care of spearmen. Whatever else the guy can go for, pretty much that's about it. It's going to be either archers, skirmishers, or spearmen or scouts, right? And the Minotaurs and the scout composition over here from JorDan should be pretty good, but he needs a good amount of scouts so that he can take on the archers. And then ideally he wants to mix the army up, so he wants to bring both units together into a single army, not like this, because right now he's getting cleaned up by the archers, so the Minotaurs do not really get any value out of there. And because we have spearmen over here for the dogao still, JorDan's scouts cannot really do too much. If he had the Minotaurs and the scouts together, he might have been able to target the spearmen with the Minotaurs, but it was going to prove very difficult anyway because of the dogao's archers. So in the end, the dogao's army composition seems to be a little bit better. And not only that, he gets enough resources to click up to the castle age, while JorDan's expensive approach to game number 2 leaves him significantly behind compared to the dogao to the next stage. He doesn't even have the resources to go up, not even close. Instead, he's got bloodlines on the way. He's got, yeah, more scouts on the way, so it seems like he's going to stick to full feudal push over here. Meanwhile, the dogao, he might be behind by 3 workers over here, but of course, he's going up to the next stage, and he's got plenty of extra military over here. Enough military to defend with, potentially enough military to attack with as well, so he's going forward with everything together. He's going to keep most of the spearmen back home though, so there's a risk that he might end up losing all the archers and the skirmishers over there. It really depends on whether or not JorDan finds those units open. And it doesn't seem like he will. 1 village goes down for JorDan, the rest get pushed into the tower. And the red player is going to commit to the push over here, but he needs to find some villages over here. He needs to do some good damage, otherwise the gal's getting away with damage for free by getting the village down on the left hand side. So that's 1 villager down already for the Bull player, and JorDan does end up walking away from the spearman over here. We'll see. The guy gets yet another villager over here in JorDan. JorDan's only now on his way to the castle age when the guy has already gotten there. But you know, It's very interesting. JorDan's scouts over here kind of give you a sensation of pressure. If you're in JorDan's position, if you're in dogao's position, the scouts, they feel like a lot more pressure compared to some of the other units because they are much more mobile and they can outpace your defensive units. But yeah, so far JorDan's been struggling to get any damage done. Dogao instead, he is probably going to end up losing all the archers over here, even though he got the crossman upgrade. He's got Buck and Arrow over here. He does end up losing the majority of his army forward, and he's gonna be left on only about 5 archers and 2 skirmishers. But because he's still so much faster to the castle age, and his units are still technically stronger on paper, once he gets enough crossbows, he'll be able to strike again. And he's going pretty heavily because he's got double archer ranges. The numbers do not take too long to keep on going higher and higher. Meanwhile, we have an armor elephant on the way from the Gauss, so he's adding into his army some siege. And this is huge. The tower seems like it's going down very soon. Fortunately, at the very least, the Gauss was able to get most of the fish down over here, I guess. Not really, there's plenty of fish left to be had. So the Gauss ends up pushing the villagers away over here. And most importantly, if he ends up getting the villagers, as Pop Gauss to Wisdell! We see a villager go down over there? Not quite! Okay, there we go. Finally, 2 villagers go down. The Gao catches up in villager count like this, otherwise he was behind because of the extra idle TC time. And JorDan's still struggling to get any damage done. With the scouts forward he ended up losing these. He managed to get 1 villager by the looks of it, and that's about it. He lost 3 scouts, so probably not worth it. The Gao, on the other hand, well, the Gao's been losing a few units himself as well. To be fair, they were a little bit cheaper. But he does end up getting a good amount of villagers himself as well. So overall, the EKKD is very, very close. JorDan doesn't seem to be quite into it, which once again does come as a little bit of a surprise to me, given just how much they've been practicing. Well, I'll tell you one thing though. JorDan's strat over here was quite unique. It's the first time that I see somebody go for double barracks opening with Bulgarians and Empire Wars from the games that I have cast anyway. And that certainly seems like something that was very much calculated. But it did not work out. And dogao, just playing standard over here, was able to get a nice lead. Right now he's got well over 4 times the military count compared to JorDan. Now it's going to be a little bit less than 4 times, but still a substantial military lead over JorDan. And then for worker count, JorDan's ahead by a little bit because of the second TC. But obviously that's going to come at a price. Going for extra villagers and going for the extra farms necessary for him to sustain villager production will, you know, inevitably delay his military production, his military upgrades. He's going for chain bar than armor right now, but the guy on the other hand, he's got pikemen that are not going to care about that. He's got plenty of crosses coming out, and the numbers keep on getting higher and higher for the guy, while JorDan on the other hand, he's kind of struggling to even, yeah, stay, you know, to even get to 10 military. It's gotta be very tough mentally as well for JorDan. Imagine you have been practicing for 2 weeks with your team. Some of the highest level players in the world. And then you crumble over here, struggle so much. Like, if he loses this, that's going to be a 1-2 track record for JorDan in the tournament so far. So there's still some representation for Game of Legion, despite, you know, the result of this series and despite Doubt's series as well. But yeah, I'm pretty curious as to how it is, or I guess it's, once again, it's gotta be pretty tough mentally, and I imagine JorDan might struggle to find himself in the right spot in that regard right now, because of losing game number 1 and because of being on the back foot in game number 2, in spite of the unique strategy. Alright, first scrap was on the way now for JorDan though. I guess no matter what happens, we're probably going to find out. If you follow JorDan on his social media, you're probably going to find out what he felt like, what he thought during the games and whatnot. This is good though. This is good. He's got the score lead. He's getting a bunch of villagers down over here, and the crepo seems like it's coming up. So JorDan's not out of it just yet. There's still a substantial military lead for the Gao. Still about 4 times the military count compared to JorDan. But the damage output from the red player over here has been great. He's managed to retain a 15 worker lead and get a bunch of extra villagers down over here from the Gao, extending the villager lead, potentially. But not just yet. The left hand side. The counter rates over here from the Gao. That is a good mammoth shot! But yeah, the counter rates over here from the Gao are certainly keeping JorDan's villager count under control as well. So let's take a look at that. Mammoth goes down. Scorpion stays up for the time being. Should be going down very soon as well. It does. And to think that this is the first decider. Beautiful. We still have 3 more to go after this one. They've been pacing the games pretty well overall, so it seems like they have been shooting for 8 hours so far between yesterday and today, and it's worked out pretty well. Like, we are in the first decider, right? So this is the 3rd set of the day, and we are almost 4 hours into the stream. Good unit control over here. JorDan realizes about the raids, manages to garrison the villagers in time over there. Does still end up losing a few, but still retains his 15 villagers. You know what? The worker count over here for both players has remained pretty much the same for the last 2 minutes, which is remarkable. The guy's bailing from JorDan's base, while JorDan cannot really do too much around the Gal's base. And even though the military count has just been the same game situation for the past 5 minutes. 4 times the military for the Gal, about the same work elite for JorDan. But despite all of that, what do we get? Well, the game stabilized for the most part. 2 TCs for the Gal, 3 TCs for JorDan. The red player is going to keep on getting further ahead in worker count. Eventually that's going to be strong enough for him to make a transition into military production. That should suffice for him to get into military production, right? Once again. And significantly outproduce the Gal.
Sorry.
Here we go. Yeah, the Gal's just going to stabilize over here. There isn't really too much for him to do. And even though JorDan's Krepos over here is providing him some very nice map control, it's not really going to be too detrimental to the Gal, because unlike Atacama on this map, there is plenty of extra wood around. So wood's not going to be an issue for the Gal. And he did end up cleaning the fish over here, the shorefish for the most part, so it's not too bad either. While JorDan on the other hand, he's got a cripples on the left hand side. He couldn't really finish collecting the shorefish from what I can see. But yeah, because it's got a much higher working count, it's still going to be ahead in economy compared to the Gal. Good defense over here. JorDan should be able to take care of the armor elephants with just mangonels, and he will. Here we are. Oh boy, I think the man is going down faster than the elephants are. Never mind, but in the end, the elephants get cleaned out. JorDan does end up losing though the Crepos, which is unfortunate because it was a stronghold at the center of the map over there. Now without it, dogao could potentially get the raids going once again, although dogao's not really been going too heavily into military to speak of. Nice unit control from JorDan though, cleaning up most of the pikemen over here. Crepos is coming up from JorDan once again at the center of his base. Well, not really at the center of his base, but in front of the center of his base. Well done. And once again, the game is just stabilized. JorDan's getting past 100 villagers now. dogao, not so much. Not so much. He's on 2 TCs only. This might be finally the game that JorDan gets over here that allows him to contest the match. If he ends up getting game number 2, we're gonna get a tiebreaker for game number 3, rather. We'll see. There's Horse Scholar on the way now for dogao as well. Only now. Seems a little bit late-ish. To be fair, they have been collecting shorefish. So, in a different game context, probably would have been a little bit too late to go for it. But right now, it's... Yeah, he's only now starting to make a transition to farms, I guess. JorDan, on the other hand, is just going to keep on collecting resources for free, the food, namely up in the north. It's worth noting, though, that the military count right now for both players has gotten a lot closer, as JorDan's on 20 versus 18 military units, and he still retains a 35 worker lead over dogao. Lone Sword's coming up from JorDan though, what? There's no way this works. Well, I mean, dogao's been going pretty heavily into pikemen, so I guess that helps, right? That's the reason why the military count for dogao is not quite as high anymore. He ended up losing most of the pikemen to the Crepos over here, and whatever he had left, they're going to struggle against the Lone Swords over here. But anyway, JorDan's going forward now. Let's switch colors over here. Red for JorDan, blue for dogao. We have Vietnamese versus Mayans. Let's see what we get. So the opening will consist of a archer range for JorDan, surprising probably no one, while dogao on the other hand is going to have the exact same thing. Now he could have gone for scouts potentially, but just going to be archers from both players. Now that's very interesting because JorDan gets a discount. He gets 10% cheaper archers in the field age. dogao, however, he has to pay full price, but he gets 20% extra HP on archer units. In addition to that, dogao civilization will also give him vision of where JorDan's DC is. And yeah, JorDan's just getting the walls up, so it's gonna be completely walled up over here. And it's very interesting because with Vietnamese over here having vision of the starting location of the enemy TC, you would think maybe it's worth considering the scout opening so that you can go forward, right? You have the mobility, you can start striking from earlier, but that's not the case. Instead, it's going to be archers for both these players. And dogao though! dogao's got almost enough resources to go up to the castle age so early into the game, less than 4 minutes into it. How on earth? He's gone for double bit axe for sure. Vietnamese don't have to pay wood for eco upgrades, but that's not going to be enough to grant him such a massive lead over JorDan. Especially when JorDan's been paying fewer resources for each archer he's gone for. Well, dogao did sell the stones, so there's that. And there isn't really, or JorDan at the very least hasn't really sold the stone himself, otherwise he probably would have been able to click out to the Castle Age himself as well. There we go. JorDan's on his way to the Castle Age. He ended up selling the stone, but he was still significantly later to the Castle Age compared to the Gao. So, if the Bull player, and now that he's got the second archer range coming up, plays his cards right, manages to amass a good amount of archers, once he gets to the Castle Age, the crossman upgrade, blocking arrow upgrades, should allow him to get so much more damage done forward than whatever is possible for JorDan to deal over here. So let's see. The Gao's got defensive archers over here as well. It's got double archer range, archer production. Meanwhile, JorDan on the other hand, JorDan's just going for Eagle Scouts instead. He'll probably end up losing the archers over here, which will give Dogao a confidence boost as well, as he's gonna feel much more confident in his current position, right? And having extra archers over here, especially when he didn't lose a single one over here, means that he's gonna have so many more range units compared to JorDan. And that is still true. JorDan's got no range units at all. He's got no archers, no skirmishers at all. 0. But what he does have, though, is Eagle Scouts. And he's gonna get the Eagle Warriors once he gets to the Castle Age. He's going for extra barracks as well. So it's just not going to be 1 barracks anymore. Not 2 barracks anymore. It's gonna be 3 barracks for JorDan. And the Gao, well, the Gao's not really reacting to this, though. It's just going for the Bucking Arrow and Crossman upgrades. Meanwhile, JorDan's gonna get to the Castle Age in about 20 seconds. That's not too long for now. And unless the Gao reacts to this and goes for something else, he might find himself in a pretty tricky position. There we go, Castle Age is here. Already for JorDan. There we go, Eagle Warrior. Chain Barden armor. Triple barracks to produce Eagle Warriors with. And the Gao, he's making a switch into cavalry archers. Now, Vietnamese are not bad for cavalry archers. And actually, that's probably... If you're going to go for one range unit that is not a hand cannoneer, cavalry archer is probably your best shot against Eagle Warriors, because you're not going to get caught up. Like, crossbows, on the other hand, they do get caught up by eagles and they can potentially get surrounded. That's not the case so much for Eagle Warriors. Sorry, for cavalry archers. The CA, however, will require significantly more microing in order to be effective. And it just takes so long on this. This is not good. The Gao is losing the crossbows to JorDan's Eagle Warriors already. Yeah. There we go. So far, so good. The Gao manages to hold on over here against JorDan's units. Despite the fact that we already have chainmail armor, that is very interesting, as I thought JorDan was surely going to get that trade over there. The cavalry archers coming forward right now. The Gao is going to have an even stronger army to work with, and JorDan, well, he's starting to go pretty heavily into Eagle Warriors once again. He does have 8 queued up. He's got only 3 barracks, for which he's going for a 4th one to increase his production potential. And here come the cavalry archers. Fantastic. Here we go. Beautiful. JorDan will eventually end up cleaning up those crossbows, even though it took 2 waves of Eagle Warriors, but that will leave him in a very good spot. Now he's producing from 4 barracks. That is significantly higher compared to his previous production. There's a magnet on the way from JorDan as well, so he's gonna start putting pressure. He did send the villager forward to get the sneaky, not so sneaky, but to get it forward. Siege Workshop up. So now between the Eagle Warriors and the Siege Workshop, JorDan should be in a pretty good spot. He's going for Scorpions right now, in addition to the Magna, which is going to be so much more effective against the Cavalry Archers compared to Mangonels. Fortune's coming in for JorDan too. Fortune's coming in for JorDan only now. But this is what I was talking about. It's so micro-intensive for the god to actually be able to take advantage. The Cavalry Archers over here. Let's take a look at that. And that was a good mango shot. But the guy ended up baiting the Eagles into the mango shot over there. And he's done a good job at keeping the Cavalry Archers alive and keeping himself alive. And allowing him to keep on building upon his villager lead. A lot of extra LTC time for JorDan at this point in time. Just being prioritizing Eagle production for the most part. And while the guy does have a good amount of Cavalry Archers over there, he does not have ballistics, so he couldn't really do too much against the villager from JorDan. He couldn't really take her. And if you take a look at the attack stats over here, you realize that the Cavalry Archers from the guy do not even have thumb ring. They do not even have thumb ring. Fantastic. Very good. The house is going down over here. I think this is still closed. It kind of looked like it was open a little bit, but that's just the optical illusion of the elevation over there. Two adjacent houses look like they are more separated than they actually are. Sometimes they look like they are closer together than they actually are, depending on the perspective. But yeah, you know, JorDan's knocking on the gal's doors everywhere. The gal's not letting him in, so now the gal's going to knock on the walls. And here comes the house. The house is going down. JorDan's about to come in, and the gal does not have enough military units over here. Only about 11 Cavalry Archers currently. Knights are on the way as well, but that's going to take so long. He's got a single stable. Meanwhile, triple archer ranges are not going to be enough still for him to produce enough units. And now, the quick walls from the guy are going to save the day for the time being, but this is rough. He ended up getting pushed away from the north gold. And then there's only one gold available down the south that JorDan's putting a lot of pressure with a bunch of Eagle Warriors over here trying to break through. And if he does manage to get in, that's going to be very hard for the guy to come back from. Even at this point in time, while we do still have 11 extra workers for the Gao, the amount of idle villagers he's got more than offsets for that. So there we go, some villagers go down to the Manonel, but the Manonel goes down to Scorpions. Here we go. Scorpions over here are still pouring in, and that's not even the end of it. JorDan sending a bunch of extra eagles on the left hand side, a bunch of extra eagles on the right hand side. He's managed to breach through a different segment of the walls. Yeah, and the chaos economy is a disaster! The villager lead is gone! It's vanished! 17 villager kills from JorDan so far with these eagles. And that is not even the end of it! It's got a new wave of units coming in. So dogao calls a GG, and JorDan moves on to the quarterfinals while dogao gets knocked out of the tournament. Into the siders over here, still going to be a nice standing for him, but JorDan, boy oh boy, what a great performance to clutch it up in game number 3 and move on. Taking a look at the achievements, as we usually do. We'll see that military is much better for JorDan with a 6-to-5 kill ratio. Stronger economy as well for JorDan, collecting about only 132 extra resources, so not a whole lot. And then in addition to that, we see a higher villager max count, for dogao of about 11 extra villagers compared to JorDan. But in the end of the game, he ended up on fewer villagers compared to JorDan, who ended up getting about 21 villager kills at the end of the game, while JorDan did not lose a single villager throughout the game at all. Well done